those are the two responses when people talk about AI. First, there's people who are terrified it's going to take away your job. They're utterly, completely worried about it just wiping out white collar work. They're worried about it doing screenplays. They're worried about it doing factory work. They're worried about an apocalypse where people don't have any jobs. There's no work whatsoever because AI is going to completely replace everything. Lawyers, doctors, you name it, AI is going to replace it. They're terrified. Ah! And then there's the people that are not terrified. They are just jacked out of their mind that they're never going to have to work again in their life because AI is going to do it for them. They are excited that AI is about to be driving trucks. They're excited that AI is going to be replacing everything. They're just going to be able to plug in everything into a computer. It's going to work. It's going to create their content. It's going to write their scripts. It's going to create their artwork. It's going to do everything for them. And all of a sudden, they don't have to worry about working. They're going to work like maybe 2 hours a week. They just got to go check in, make sure the AI is doing its job, and they're good. But here's the thing. Both of those responses are dramatic. That's why they get clicks. There's the people who are worried about everything going to pot, and there's the people who are just excited about the future of AI and getting people to invest in it. But neither of those responses are really correct because deep down, it doesn't really come down to those things. It comes down to something a little more boring. And the boring answer is the same to both of those people. So we're going to dive into that today. First, AI will replace a bunch of jobs. AI is just a new technology, and any new technology just replaces a bunch of jobs. Just take a moment and think about just the past 100, 200 years of all the jobs that have been replaced. There are no longer people who ride around in horse and buggies taking you places. I mean, there's a few here and there, but it's not a giant workforce. There's no longer telephone operators. There's no longer little miniature film artists on set who create beautiful miniatures. There's a few people who do it as a hobby, but it's no longer a job necessarily. There's no longer a bunch of farmers. It's less than like 1% of the population now. There's no more human computers at NASA doing all the calculations and typing. There's no more milkmen. There's no more soda jerks mixing your drink up. You just have a little machine doing it. There's no more town criers telling you the city news. You have Twitter. X, my bad. And there's no more projectionists at theaters. You see, technology just naturally replaces jobs. The same technology that created those jobs gets replaced by new technology. And so you don't really have to be scared because AI is just going to create a whole lot more jobs. In my opinion, they're a little bit sadder jobs. They're not as fun and exciting as some of those jobs we just mentioned, but those jobs don't exist anymore. And so a lot of the boring jobs of today are about to become slightly more boring jobs. Now we're going to have people that sit there and prompt in scripts. They're going to prompt in the perfect prompt in order to get the right artwork or the right thing. They're going to be really good at crafting the right sort of prompt in order to create whatever the company needs. There's going to be a bunch of coders that create all this AI stuff. There's going to be the people that implement and make sure that it happens, that they look at a giant organization and the ways that they can implement AI, and they're going to be doing it. How can you implement AI into this job? There's going to be people that are really good at that, and that's going to become a job. There's going to be managers that manage all this AI and make sure it's working correctly. There's going to be crisis fixers that come in and fix it when AI goes berserk, and there's going to be some sort of AI insurance. There will be people selling you AI insurance. There will be a bunch of jobs that are created that we can't even imagine because any new technology creates new jobs and obliterates old ones. So for the people that are panicking and screaming and talking about the apocalypse of all the jobs, they are somewhat correct. It's going to replace a bunch of jobs, but it's just going to create a whole lot more jobs. They may be boring, they may not be as exciting, they may require a more mundane skill set or a new skill set. But when it comes down to it, AI is not going to cut jobs. It's just going to shift jobs to a new person or a new way of doing things. It's just going to shift the title to something else. AI in and of itself cannot eliminate a job. It just shifts that job to somebody else. Now, it is sad that some people who have really expensive degrees and have spent a long time in school and a large chunk of their life preparing for a certain type of job, some of their jobs may get eliminated. But there's probably going to be something similar to it that they're going to have to end up doing. So to people who have expensive degrees, that might hurt. But there's a bunch of other jobs out there. Jobs are going to stay the same. They're just going to shift in their title. Now, the second thing, the reaction to people just going, yes, we're not going to have to work as much. I'm going to get AI and it's going to do all my work for me. Of course, we all know deep down that's not possible. But there's people who genuinely think that AI is going to replace a bunch of their work and they're just going to shift, and all of a sudden they're just going to be monitoring AI bots. And there's people obsessed with AI agents doing all this work, and they really genuinely believe that they're not going to be working as much because AI is going to be doing it for them. And well, The biblical worldview says that work has already always existed. Work was a good thing. And then sin came in and made work hard and not fulfilling. And so work has already always existed. 100, 200, 300 years ago, I'm going to kind of use my imagination here because I was not there, you would be on a farm and you would till the ground and you would feed your chickens and then you would go fix your tractor because it broke down. You would have your kids at school or take them to school. I don't really know how school worked back then. And you'd walk to the store and then you wouldn't take a bath and you would cook supper and it'd take a long time because of the technology you have. And now we don't do a lot of those things, and yet we still have the same amount of work. We just shift the work to somewhere else. Now we drive to work and we pay for gas and we spend time at the gas pump getting gas because we're driving to work. And then we have to go to get our car fixed and oil changed, and we just add in a whole list of new things to do. Even though it saves time in one way, it's just shifting that to something else. Then you go to the grocery store and you spend a lot of time buying stuff that you wouldn't have bought otherwise because it is available and you can buy it. And then the thing that you buy, you have to cook and you have to spend time cooking it or looking at recipes. Then now you have to have insurance for your tractor. I don't know, I'm just coming up with that. But you have to pay, instead of just fixing it or not worrying about it, now you have to pay to insure it. You have to pay taxes in order for kids to go to school. You get DoorDash and now somebody else has a whole new job of sending you food instead of you cooking supper. You pay your utilities because you're taking a shower every day and you've just created a whole new bill that you have to pay for, and so you have to go work a little bit harder. Basically, even though we're doing totally different stuff, and praise God we don't have to not take a bath and we have air conditioning and all this wonderful stuff, we're just shifting the work somewhere else. We're spending more time doing something else, and even though we aren't doing something because the technology eliminated it, we're still doing something. We don't just sit around and do nothing. In fact, we probably do a whole lot more. So technology, AI in and of itself, is not bad. It's just going to continue making us work. It's just going to make us work in new ways. You see, if you do get AI, an AI agent, to be perfect and flawless and to pretty much do your job, well, odds are you're going to spend a lot of time monitoring it and setting it up and finding new ways to do things. And now because you set it up and you have the perfect AI agent, now you're probably going to get hired to do that somewhere else. And you're just going to continue working. Work will always exist. It's just you're going to be doing something else that you weren't doing earlier because now AI is doing that, so you're just going to be doing something else. It's not going to replace work, it's just going to shift the work. It's just going to continue in a different form. Think about an Airbnb. I looked it up recently. I was curious on what it would take to do an Airbnb. In my mind, it's passive income. All you have to do is you have an Airbnb and you get money. It's great. Well, it turns out you have to attend your Airbnb. You have to clean it. You have to vet people. You have to communicate with the people that are going to be at your Airbnb. And then you have to manage it. And now you could pay someone else to manage it, but then you're not really breaking even and you're still worrying about it. And when something happens, you're still the person that all the decisions come to. I think about people who have made it really, really well off in the stock market, just kind of as a hobby. And well, pretty soon they're spending all their time monitoring it and making sure it's happening. And yeah, they aren't working at their actual job. They're making money in the stock market, but it's not actually helping their life much. They're just now spending all their time monitoring the stock market and making sure that they continue. And so you aren't ever going to get rid of work. You're just going to shift where you're choosing to work. And maybe AI will replace all the work that you have to do. Well, you're probably still going to spend some time in the yard working on something else. God made us to work. You're going to work somewhere. You can't sit around and be lazy forever. At some point, you are going to have a desire to work, or you're just going to have to work. And so, yeah, we're not going to replace work, but we are going to shift it to a different spot. And yeah, some of it is a lot nicer and easier. It is amazing what AI can do and already can do and will do in the future. It's amazing that you don't have to do certain things. It's amazing that we have AC and we have a computer and we can hit backspace instead of getting a whole new sheet of paper and typing it out or handwriting it by hand. AI is amazing and helps us do a lot of stuff, but it's not going to replace work. It's just going to shift the work. You see, you will never work less. About almost 100 years ago, there's an economist named John Maynard Keynes, and he wrote an essay titled Economic Possibilities for Our Grandchildren. Well, it was 1930 then, and in the essay he made a startling prediction. Keynes figured that by the time his children had grown up, basically now, people might be working just 15 hours a week. That's silly, but it's true. This guy predicted it. People have been predicting that we're going to have shorter work weeks, that we're not going to do as much work. And it's just not true because work will continue to exist. No matter what technology exists, it will just work. I was reading an Einstein book, and he had this essay about how we were going to have to do something to create a whole welfare system for all the people who wouldn't have jobs. There just wouldn't be enough jobs for people to do. And while you can debate there's maybe you need more jobs or better jobs, the point is there's enough work to be done, and work will just always continue. And when you eliminate one need of work, then you create work somewhere else. Work is just going to continue. And so for those people that are just glorious and believe in a utopia of no work because of AI, I'm sorry, you're just wrong. You're just going to be sitting there prompting the AI to do your work, and you're going to spend all day prompting your AI to do more work than you could ever do. But you're still going to be prompting, and you're still going to be working. You can't get rid of work. It's something that is just part of the laws of the universe. As you can see, there's really no proper reaction. There's no screaming. There's no rejoicing. AI is just AI. It's a new technology. It's not going to cause an apocalypse. It's just going to shift new types of jobs, and it's not going to save all of our jobs and make us better and more efficient and the best thing ever. It's just going to shift the work that we're doing. And so that's the honest answer. It's not exciting. It's not some conspiracy theory, but that's probably what's going to happen. I'd bet my money on it.